Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagunaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivashikam Vitam Sya Om Jnana Timaranda Sya Jnana Shalakaya Shakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Gurganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pradam Devam Divyat Tanum Suchanda Bharanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Banditam Shubharam Madeka Sharanam Yashishvara Sridharam Vanshakopatarubyasya Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila, chapter 19, Inconceivable Behavior of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Inconceivable behavior of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, verse number 1. Vandetam Krishna Chaitanyam Matri Bhakta Shiromanim Pralapya Mukha Sangarshi Madhudyane Lalasaya. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most exalted of all devotees and mothers, spoke like a madman and rubbed his face against the walls. Overwhelmed by emotions of ecstatic love, he would sometimes enter the Jagannath Vallabha garden to perform his pastimes. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Adwaita Acharya Jaya Gaurabhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Sri Adwaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Emate Mahaprabhu Krishna Prema Veshe Unmara Pralapa Kore Ratri Divase. In the ecstasy of love of Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus behaved like a madman, talking insanely all day and night. Prabhura Adyanta Priya Pandita Jagadananda Jahara Charitre Prabhu Payana Ananda Jayananda. Jagadananda Pandit was a very dear devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord derived great pleasure from his activities. Pratibatsara Prabhu Tare Patana Nariyate Bicheda Dukita Jani Janani Ashwasite. Knowing his mother to be greatly afflicted by separation from him, the Lord would send Jagadananda Pandit to Navadvip every year to console her. Nadiya Chalaha Matare Kohiha Namaskar Amare Name Pada Padma Dariya Tahar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Jagadananda Pandit, go to Nadia and offer my obeisances to my mother. Touch her lotus feet in my name. Kohir tahare tumi koraha smaran nityasi amit omar bandiye charan. Tell her for me, please remember that I come here every day and offer my respects to your lotus feet. Jedini tomar icha koraite bojan edine asi abasha koriye bakan. Any day you desire to feed me, I certainly come and accept what you offer. Tomara Seva Chari Ami Korelun Sanyas Molahaya Ami Koelun Dharmanash. I have given up service to you and have accepted the vow of sannyas. I have thus become mad and have destroyed the principles of religion. E aparad tumina lohia amar, tomaradhina ami putra se tomar. Mother, please do not take this as an offense, for I, your son, am completely dependent upon you. Nilachale achiami tomara agyate, jabat jiva tabat ami nariba charite. I'm staying here at Nilachala Jagannath Puri according to your order. As long as I live, I shall not leave this place. Gopalilaya paila jay prashara bhashane, matare patana taha purera bachane. Following the order of Paramananda Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent his mother the prasad clothing left by Lord Jagannath after his pastimes as a cowherd boy. Jagannather Uttama Prasad Aniya Jatane Matare Pritak Patan Ara Bhaktagane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very carefully brought first-class preparations from Lord Jagannath and sent it in separate packages to his mother and the devotees at Nadia. So Jagannath's prasad clothing after his pastimes as a cowherd boy, that probably refers to the time of either Janmashtami or could be related to the Govardhan Puja or Gopastami, but probably refers to the Janmashtami time. Matribhakta Ganer Prabhu Hanashiromani Sanyasakori Yasada Sebena Janani. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the topmost gem of all devotees of mothers. He rendered service to his mother even after he had accepted the vow of sannyas. Jagadananda Nadiyagiya Matare Milila Prabhura Jata Nivedana Sakala Kohila. Jagadananda Pandit thus went to Nadia, and when he met Sachimata, he conveyed to her all the Lord's salutations. Acharjadi Bhakta Gane Milila Prashadadiya Matatai Agyaloila Maseka Rohiya. He then met all the other devotees headed by Adwaita Acharya and gave them the prasad of Jagannath. After staying for 1 month, he took permission from Mother Sachi to leave. Acharjaratai Giya Agyamagila Charya Gosai Prabhure Sandesha Kohila. When he went to Adwaita Acharya and also asked his permission to return, Adwaita Prabhu gave him a message to deliver to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Taraja Proheli Acharya Kohena Taretore Prabhu Matra Bhujena Keho Bhujitai Pare. Adwaita Acharya had written a sonnet in equivocal language with an import that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand, but others could not. Prabhure Kohiha Amar Koti Namaskar E Nivedana Tara Charane Amar. In his sonnet, Adwaita Prabhu first offered his obeisances hundreds and thousands of times unto the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He then submitted the following statement at his lotus feet. Bolake kohiha lo koila bao bolake kohiha hatena vikaya chao. Bolake kohiha kaye nahika ao. Bolake kohiha iha kohiya chebao. Please inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is acting like a madman, that everyone here has become mad like him. Inform him also that in the marketplace, rice is no longer in demand. Further tell him that those now mad in ecstatic love are no longer interested in the material world. Also tell Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one who has also become a madman in ecstatic love, Adwaita Prabhu, has spoken these words. Ita shuni Jagadananda hasite lagila, nila chaliase tabe prabhure kohila. When he heard Adwaita Acharya's statement, Jagadananda Pandit began to laugh, and when he returned to Jagannath Puri, Nilachala, he informed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of everything. Taraja Shuni Mahaprabhu, Ishat Hasila, Taraje Agyaboli, Monadarila. After hearing the equivocal sonnet by Adwaita Acharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quietly smiled. That is his order, he said. Then he fell silent. Janiya Swarup Gosai Prabhure Puchila Etara Jara Arta Bhujite Narila. Although he knew the secret, Swarup Damodar Goswami inquired from the Lord, what is the meaning of this sonnet? I could not understand it. Prabhu Kohenacharya Hoy Pujaka Prabhu Agama Shastrara Bidi Bidane Kushal. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, Adwaita Acharya is a great worshipper of the Lord and is very expert in the regulative principles enjoined in the Vedic literatures. He's very good in all the Vidi Marg. Upasana lagi Devir Korana Abahan, Puja lagi Katakala Korana Nirodhan. Adwaita Acharya invites the Lord to come and be worshipped, and to perform the worship he keeps the deity for some time. Puja nirvaha hoide pache korana visarjana tarajara najaniyarta kiva taramana. After the worship is completed, he sends the deity somewhere else. I do not know the meaning of this sonnet, nor do I know what is in Adwaita Prabhu's mind. So it says korana visarjana. Well, in Bengal, when they worship, they sometimes have puja of Kali, Durga, and other demigods, and they make a form of the deva out of mud, and then they paint the mud, and they have a deity made of clay like that, and unfired clay, and then after some time they do worship, and for a week, 2 weeks, and after the worship is over, they have what's called Visarjana. They have a parade, and then they take the deity to the Ganga or to a local, in the case of Calcutta, there are many ponds or kunds there, and they take the deity to a kund, and then the Visarjana is with a parade, and the Visarjanas, then they put this essentially clay or mud deity, they put that deity in the water, and after some time the deity will dissolve, etc. But that's the Visarjana, that whole ceremony of taking the deity, dissolving in water. So Mahaprabhu says, after the worship is completed, he sends the deity, Adwaita Acharya sends the deity somewhere else, or does this Visarjana, dissolves the deity. I do not know the meaning of this sonnet, nor do I know what is in Adwaita Prabhu's mind. So in other words, the worship of the deity is done for some times, and then they have the Visarjana, and then the deity worship stops. So there's an indication about how the function of the deity is no longer needed. So, Mahajogeshwara Acharya Tarajate Samartha Amiya Bhujite Nari Tarajara Arta. Adwaita Acharya is a great mystic. No one can understand him. He is expert in writing sonnets that even I myself cannot understand. So, there's indication that, all right, the work that you have done as the Yuga avatar, spreading the holy name and giving the full development of love of God and up to Madhura Ras, that has been accomplished. There's no longer a market for chow or rice in the marketplace. So you've already done that. But that wasn't the only reason Mahaprabhu came. So then Adwaita is signaling to Mahaprabhu that this reason for coming of the Yuga avatar, which wouldn't necessarily be indicative or necessitate that Swayam Bhagavan Krishna or Mahaprabhu would have to come for that purpose, just to spread the Yuga Dharma, which is the chanting of the holy name and development of love of God. Of course, when you talk about the development of love of Godhead up to Madhura Ras, Solomon, or only Mahaprabhu and Krishna, only Mahaprabhu can really give that. Krishna can relate with his devotees in all these rasas, but only Mahaprabhu can really give this. But still, there are other reasons why Mahaprabhu has come, and Adwaita Acharya says, so this what we might call, or what the Chaitanya Charitamrita refers to as the external reason, that's already happened. There's no longer need for that. There's no longer demand for rice in the marketplace. But okay. Adwaita Acharya is a great mystic. No one can understand him. He is expert in writing sonnets that even I myself cannot understand. Shunya Bhishmita Hoila Sababhaktagan Swarup Gosai Kichu Hoila Bhiman. Hearing this, all the devotees were astonished, especially Swarup Damodar, who became somewhat morose. Saidin Hoite Prabhur Arada Shahoila Krishnera Vicheda Dasha Dviguna Badela. From that day on, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's emotional state changed markedly. His feelings of separation from Krishna doubled in intensity. So he said there's also internal reasons why Mahaprabhu has come. And those internal reasons are to know that sweetness in himself that only Srimati Radharani can experience, to and is all related with the idea of to know that happiness that only Srimati Radharani can experience, and to know the glory of her love. It's all related with the worship of Srimati Radharani in separation. So from that day on, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's emotional state changed markedly. His feelings of separation from Krishna doubled in intensity. Unmara pralapa cheshta kore ratri dine rara baba beshe viraha bare anukane. As his feelings of separation and the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani increased at every moment, the Lord's activities, both day and night, were now wild, insane performances. Acham bite swure krishnera maturagaman udgornadasha hoila unmara lakan. Suddenly there arose within Mahaprabhu the scene of Lord Krishna's departure to Mathura, and he began exhibiting the symptom of ecstatic madness known as Udgorna. Ramanandar Galadari Korana Pralapana. Ramanandar Galadari Korana Pralapan Swarupe Puchena Mani Nija Sakigan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a madman, holding Ramananda Roy by the neck. And he questioned Swarup Damodar, thinking him to be his gopi friend. Purvejena Bishakare Radhika Puchila Se Shloka Pari Pralapa Korite Lagila. Just as Srimati Radharani inquired from her personal friend Vishaka, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, reciting that very verse, began speaking like a madman. Kvananda Kula Chandrama Kva Shiki Chandra Kalankriti Kva Mandra Murali Rava Kvanu Surendra Nilajuti Kva Rasa Rasa Tandavi Kva Saki Jiva Raksho Shadir Nidir Mama Surit Tama Kva Bhata Hanta Hadig Vidim. My dear friend, where is Krishna, who is like the moon rising from the ocean of Maharaj Nanda's dynasty? Where is Krishna, his head decorated with a peacock feather? Where is he? Where is Krishna, whose flute produces such a deep sound? Oh, where is Krishna, whose bodily luster is like the luster of the blue Antya-lila jewel? Where is Krishna, who is so expert in rasa dancing? Oh, where is he who can save my life? Kindly tell me where to find Krishna, the treasure of my life and best of my friends. Feeling separation from him, I hereby condemn Providence, the shaper of my destiny. This verse is found in the Lalita Madhava of Srila Rupa Goswami. The verse we just heard. Vrajendra Kula Dugdha Sindhu Krishna Tahe Purna Hindu Janmi Koila Jagat Ujawar Kanti Amrita Jeba Piye Nirantara Piya Jiye Raja Janer Nayana Chakor. The family of Marjnanda is just like an ocean of milk, wherein Lord Krishna has arisen like the full moon to illuminate the entire universe. The eyes of the residents of Braja are like chakora birds that continually drink the nectar of his bodily luster and thus live peacefully. Saki he kota Krishna kori koraha darshan. Saki he kota Krishna karaha darshan. Kanake Shahara Muka Nadakile Fatebuka Shigra Dekaha Naro Rohe Jivan. My dear friend, where is Krishna? Kindly let me see him. My heart breaks at not seeing his face even for a moment. Kindly show him to me immediately, otherwise I cannot live. Ebrajara Ramani Kamarka Tapta Kumudini Nija Karamrita Diyadan Prafulita Korije Kahan Mora Chandra Se Dekaha Saki Raka Mora Pran. The women of Vrindavan are just like lilies growing hot in the sun of lusty desires. But moonlight Krishna makes them all jubilant by bestowing upon them the nectar of his hands. Oh, my dear friend, where is my moon now? Save my life by showing him to me. Kahanse Chudara Tama Siki Pichera Udana Nabamege Jina Indradanu Pitambara Tadit Juti Mukamala Bakapanti Navambuddha Jini Shamatanu. My dear friend, where is that beautiful helmet with a peacock feather upon it, like a rainbow upon a new cloud? Where are those yellow garments shining like lightning? And where is that necklace of pearls that resemble flocks of ducks flying in the sky? The blackish body of Krishna triumphs over the new blackish rain cloud. Ekbar jaranayane lage saratara ridoye jage Krishna tanu jena amra arta narimani paishe hoy jatne nahi bahirai tanu nahe seya kulera kanda. If a person's eyes, even once capture that beautiful body of Krishna, it remains always prominent within his heart. Krishna's body resembles the sap of the mango tree, for when it enters the minds of women, it will not come out despite great endeavor. Thus, Krishna's extraordinary body is like a thorn of the Seva berry tree. So the sap of the mango tree is hard to get off if it's on, for instance, on cloth, or the thorn of this, apparently the thorn of the Seva berry tree is hard to take out. Jiniya Tomala Duti Indranila Samakanti Sekantite Jagat Matai Shringara Rasa Sarada Chani Nate Chandra Shochna Sani Jani Bidi Niramila Tai. So just as it's, if one has the thorn of the Seva berry tree in one's skin, it's hard to remove. So it is hard to take if one's eyes, even if person's eyes, even once capture that beautiful body of Krishna, it remains always prominent within his heart. Krishna's body resembles the sap of the mango tree, for when it enters the minds of women, it will not come out despite great endeavor. Thus Krishna's extraordinary body is like a thorn of the Seva berry tree. Jinya tamala duty indranila samakanti sekantite jagat matai shringara rasa sarachani tate chandra jochnasani janibidi niramilatai. Krishna's bodily luster shines like the Indranila gem and surpasses the luster of the tamal tree. The luster of his body drives the entire world mad because Providence has made it transparent by refining the essence of the mellow of conjugal love and mixing it with moonshine. Kahanse Murali Dwani Nababra Garjita Jini Jagat Akarshe Shravane Jahar Utidaya Brajajan Trishita Chatakagan Asipiye Kanti Amritadar. The deep vibration of Krishna's flute surpasses the thundering of new clouds and attracts the oral reception of the entire world. Thus the inhabitants of Vrindavan rise and pursue that sound, drinking the showering nectar of Krishna's bodily luster like thirsty chatak birds. Murase Kalamniri Pranaraka Mahoshadi Saki Mora Teho Suritam Deya Jiye Tahabine Dik E Jivane Vidikore Eta Vidamban. Krishna is the reservoir of art and culture. Krishna is a reservoir of art and culture, and he is the panacea that saves my life. Oh, my dear friends, since I live without him, who is the best among my friends, I condemn the duration of my life. I think that Providence has cheated me in many ways. And panacea refers to a medicine that will cure a disease. Krishna is a reservoir of art and culture, and he is a panacea that saves my life. Oh, my dear friend, since I live without him, who is the best among my friends, I condemn the duration of my life. I think that Providence has cheated me in many ways. Jai jana jite nahi chai, tare kine ji bidi prati ute, kroda shoka, bidire kore barsana, krishne dina olohana, Pari Bhagavater Ek Shloka. Why does Providence continue the life of one who does not wish to live? This thought aroused anger and lamentation in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who then recited a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that chastises Providence and makes an accusation against Krishna. Aho Viratas Tabana Kvachidaya Samyoja Maitriya Pranayena Dehina Tam Shakritartan Viyunakshi Apartakam Vichestitam Terbaka Chestitam Yata. O Providence, you have no mercy. You bring embodied souls together through friendship and affection, but before their desires are fulfilled, you separate them. Your activities are like the foolish pranks of children. Najanis prema marma vyarta karis parishrama torachesta balaka saman tarajari lag paye tabe tore shikadiye emona jena nak karisvidan. Providence, you do not know the purport of loving affairs, and therefore you baffle all our endeavors. This is very childish of you. If we could catch you, we would give you such a lesson that you would never again make such arrangements. Arebiri tui borai nitur anyonya durlabhajana prema korana samilan akritartan kene karista dura. O cruel providence, you are very unkind, for you bring together in love people who are rarely in touch with each other. Then, after you have made them meet, but before they are fulfilled, you again spread them far apart. And it refers here to Are Bidi Dui Borayi Nitur. This is a form of speaking Bengali of like Tui, like one would speak to a child. Are Bidi Akaruna Dekaya Krishnanana Netraman Lobaila Mor Kaneke Korite Pana Kara Nila Anyastana Papa Koile Data Apahar. O Providence, you are so unkind. You reveal the beautiful face of Krishna and make the mind and eyes greedy. But after they have drunk that nectar for only a moment, you whisk Krishna away to another place. This is a great sin because you thus take away what you have given. This is a great sin because you thus take away what you have given as charity. Akrura kore tomaradosh amaya. Kine kora rosh ihajari koha durachar tuya krura murtidari Krishna nili churi kore anjara nahe aitshe byabahar. O misbehaved Providence, if you reply to us, Akrura is actually at fault, why are you angry with me? Then I say to you, Providence, you have taken the form of Akrura and have stolen Krishna away. No one else would behave like this. Akrura came to take Krishna from Vrindavan to Mathura, and he brought a chariot, and this was what broke the heart of the residents of Vrindavan. Abanara karma dosha tore kiva kore rosha toyamoy sambandha bidur jayamara prananat ekatra rohe jarasata se Krishna hoila nitura. But this is the fault of my own destiny. Why should I needlessly accuse you? There is no intimate relationship between you and me. Krishna, however, is my life and soul. It is we who live together, and it is he who has become so cruel. Sabatyaji baji jare seyapana hate mare narebade krishnara nahi bai tara lage ami mori ulati na chahe hare khana matre bangila pranoy. He for whom I have left everything is personally killing me with his own hands. Krishna has no fear of killing women. Indeed, I am dying for him, but he doesn't even turn back to look at me. Within a moment, he has broken off our loving affairs. So this is spoken purely in the mood of Srimati Radharani. He for whom I have left everything is personally killing me with his own hands. Krishna has no fear of killing women. Indeed, I am dying for him, but he doesn't even turn back to look at me. Within a moment, he has broken off our loving affairs. Krishna kene kore rosh apana dhurdaiva dosh pakila mora e papafal Jai Krishna mora pramadina tare koila udasina e mora abhagya prabhav. Yet why should I be angry with Krishna? It is the fault of my own misfortune. The fruit of my sinful activities has ripened, and therefore Krishna, who has always been dependent on my love, is now indifferent. This means that my misfortune is very strong. Emata gorarai vishade kore hai hai. Ha ha Krishna tumige lakati gopi baba ridaye tarabake vilapaye Govinda damodara madhaveti. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lamented in the mood of separation. Alas, alas, O Krishna, where have you gone? Feeling in his heart the ecstatic emotion of the gopis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agonized in their words, saying, O Govinda, O Damodar, O Madhava. So this is what Mahaprabhu is tasting, this deep sense of separation. The separation from Krishna felt especially by Srimati Radharani and the gopis when Krishna left Vrindavan and went away. Tabis Swarup Ramarai Korinana Upai Mahaprabhu Kori Ashwasan Gayana Sangama Gita Prabhura Viraila Chita Prabhura Kichu Stira Hoilaman. Swarup Ramanan Ramananda Roy then devised various means to pacify the Lord. They sang songs of meeting that transformed his heart and made his mind peaceful. Emata Vilapite Arda Ratrigela Gambhirate Swarup Gosai Prabhure Sholaila. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lamented in this way, half the night passed. Then Swarup Damodar made the Lord lie down in the room known as the Gambhir. Prabhure Shoyana Ramananda Gelagare Swarup Govinda Shwila Gambhirara Dware. After the Lord was made to lie down, Ramananda Rai returned home and Swarup Damodar and Govinda lay down at the door of the Gambhir. Premaveshim Mahaprabhure Garagaraman Nama Sankirtana Kore Korana Jagaran. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed awake all night chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. His mind overwhelmed by spiritual ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed awake all night chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, his mind overwhelmed by spiritual ecstasy. Virahe Vyakula Prabhu Udbege Utila Gambhirar Bitye Mukha Karshite Lagila. Feeling separation from Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so distraught that in great anxiety he stood up and began rubbing his face against the walls of the Gambhir. Mukhe Gande na Nake Kata Hoila Apar Babaveshina Janin Prabhu Pade Raktadar. Blood oozed from many injuries on his mouth, nose, and cheeks, but due to his ecstatic emotions, the Lord did not know it. Sarva Ratri Koran Babe Mukha Sangarshan Gon Gon Shabda Koran Sarup Shunilata Takan. In ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rubbed his face against the walls all night long, making a peculiar noise, a peculiar sound, gon, gon, which Swarup Damodar could hear through the door. A sound of Mahaprabhu rubbing his face against the walls. Deepa Jwali Gare Gela Deki Prabhura Mukh Swarup Govinda Duhara Hoila Bora Duk. Lighting a lamp, Swarup Damodar and Govinda entered the room. When they saw the Lord's face, they were filled with sorrow. His face was very injured from rubbing his face against the walls of the Gambhir. Prabhure Shayateyani Sushtira Karaila Kahe Koila Etumi Swarup Puchila. They brought the Lord to his bed, calmed him, and then asked, "Why have you done this to yourself?" Prabhu Kohen Udbege Gare Napari Rohite Dwara Chahi Bule Shigra Bahira Hoite. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "I was in such anxiety that I could not stay. I could not stay in the room. I wanted to go out, and therefore I wandered around the room looking for the door." Dwaranahe panamuka lage charibite kata hoy rakta pare na pai jaite. Unable to find the door, I kept hitting the four walls with my face. My face was injured and it bled, but I still could not get out. Unmarada shaya prabhur stira nahiman je kore se je bole sab unmaralakan. In this state of madness, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind was unsteady. Whatever he said or did was all symptomatic of madness. Swarup Gosai Tabe Chinta Pailemane Bhaktagan Loya Bichar Koila Aradine. Swarup Damodar was very anxious, but then he had an idea. The following day, he and the other devotees considered it together. Sabhakta meli tabe prabhure sadila shankara pandite prabhura sange shalaila. After consulting with one another, they entreated Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to allow Sankar Pandit to lie down in the same room with him. Prabhupada tale Shankara korana shayan, Prabhutara upara korana para prasaran. The Sankar Pandit lay at the feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Lord placed his legs upon Shankar's body. Prabhupada padana bole tara nama loila. Prabhupada padana bole tara nama hoila. Purve bidore jena Sri Shuka Barnila. Shankar became celebrated by the name Prabhupada, the pillow of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was like Vidura, as Sukadeva Goswami previously described him. Iti Bhuvanam Viduram Vinitam Sahasra Shirshnas Charanopadanam Parishtaroma Bhagavad Katayam Prani Yamano Munir Abhyachashta. When submissive Vidura, the resting place of the legs of Lord Krishna, had thus spoken to Maitreya, Maitreya began speaking, his hair standing on end due to the transcendental pleasure of discussing topics concerning Lord Krishna. Shankara Korana Prabhur Pada Sambahan Gumaya Padena Taiche Korana Shayan. Shankar Pandit's the younger brother of Damodar Pandit. Shankar massaged the legs of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but while massaging, he would fall asleep and thus lie down. Udgarange padiya Shankara nidrajai Prabhu ute apana kanta tahare jarai. Would be massaging Mahaprabhu's legs, but he would fall asleep. He would lie asleep without a covering on his body, and Mahaprabhu would get up and cover him with his own quilt. Nirantara Gumaya Shankara Shigra Chaitan Basipad Shapikore Ratri Jagaran. Shankar Pandit would always fall asleep, but he would quickly awaken, sit up, and again begin massaging the legs of Mahaprabhu. In this way, he would stay awake the entire night. Tarabaye Naran Prabhu Bahire Jaite, Tarabaye Narana Bitye Mukabjag Gashite. Out of fear of Shankar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would neither leave his room nor rub his lotus-like face against the walls. Lila Mahaprabhu Raghunathada Skorangastava Kalpavrike Koriyache Prakash. This pastime of Mahaprabhu has been described very nicely by Raghunath Das Goswami in his book known as Gaurangastava Kalpavriksha. Swaki Yasha Pranard Buddha Sadrisha Goshtasya Virahat Pralapan Unmadat Sadatam Ati Korvan Vikaladi Dadhad Bito Shashwad Marana Vidu Karshena Rudiram Shatotam Gorangoridaya Udayan Mamarayati. Because of separation from his many friends in Vrindavan, who were like his own life, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a madman. His intelligence was transformed. Day and night, he rubbed his moon-like face against the walls, and blood flowed from his injuries. May that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rise in my heart and make me mad with love. So this is Mahaprabhu's Leela of separation, feeling separation from Krishna after he had left Vrindavan for Mathura. Emata Mahaprabhu, so Mahaprabhu is principally showing us worship in separation. This is very much distinct from the worship of the Sahajias. The Sahajias always want to take the position of enjoying, and that the false understanding of what it means to meet with the Lord, and they show that, but Mahaprabhu shows us the dignity of service and separation, the mood of separation, which is much more healthy than that false sense of meeting with Krishna and bringing Krishna's activities down to a mundane level, as the Sahajias are wont to do. Because of separation from his many friends in Vrindavan who were like his own life, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a madman. His intelligence was transformed. Day and night he rubbed his moon-like face against the walls, and blood flowed from the injuries. May that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rise in my heart and make me mad with love. Emata Mahaprabhu Ratri Divase Prema Sindhu Magna Rahe Kabu Dubevase. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed immersed day and night in an ocean of ecstatic love for Krishna. Sometimes he was submerged and sometimes he floated. Ekkale Vaishakera Purnamashidine Ratrikale Mahaprabhu Chalila Ujjane. One full moon night in the month of Vishak, April-May, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to a garden. Jagannath Vallabhanam Ujjana Pradane Primaveshe Korela Prabhu Loya Bhaktagane. The Lord, along with his devotees, entered one of the nicest gardens called Jagannath Vallabha. Prafulita Brikabali Jena Brindavan Shuka Shari Pika Bringa Koreva Alapan. In the garden were fully blossomed trees and creepers exactly like those in Vrindavan. Bumblebees and birds like the shuka, the shari and pika talked with one another. Pushpaganda loya bahe malaya prabhan guru ana taru latai shikaya nachan. A mild breeze was blowing, carrying the fragrance of aromatic flowers. The breeze had become a guru and was teaching all the trees and creepers how to dance. Purna Chandra Chandrikaya Parama Ujwa Tara Latade Jochnaya Kore Jalamo. Brightly illuminated by the full moon, the trees and creepers glittered in the night. Brightly illuminated by the full moon, the trees and creepers glittered in the light. Chaya Ritu Gana Jahan Basanda Pradhan Deki Anandito Haila Gora Bhagavan. The 6 seasons, especially spring, seemed present there. Seeing the garden, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of God, was very happy. Lalita Labangalata Parag Gaujana Nrityakore Bulena Prabhu Nijagana Loya. In this atmosphere, the Lord had his associates sing the verse from the Gita Govinda, beginning with the words Lalita Lavangalata, as he danced and wandered about with them. Pratibrikabali Aiche Brahmite Brahmite Ashokera Tale Krishna Dekena Chambite. As he thus wandered around every tree and creeper, he came beneath an ashok tree and suddenly saw Lord Krishna. Krishna Deki Mahaprabhu Dana Chalila Agedeki Hase Krishna Antardana Hoila. When he saw Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began running very swiftly, but Krishna smiled and disappeared. Agepaila Krishnetare Puna Haraya Bhumete Padila Prabhu Morchita Haya. Having gotten Krishna and then lost him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell to the ground unconscious. Krishnara Sri Angad Gande Bariche Udyane Seganda Panaprabhu Hoila Achetane. The entire garden was filled with the scent of Lord Sri Krishna's transcendental body. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smelled it, he fell unconscious at once. So, Age Paila Krishna Tare Puna Haraya Bhumete Padila Prabhu Morchita Hoya. Having gotten Krishna and then lost him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell to the ground unconscious. And I'm repeating, Krishna Sri Anga Gande Pariche Udyane Seganda Paya Prabhu Hoila Chaitanya. The entire garden was filled. The entire garden was filled with the scent of Lord Sri Krishna's transcendental body. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smelled it, he fell unconscious at once. Yirantarana Shai Pashe Krishna Parimal Ganda Shwarite Prabhu Hoila Pagal. But the scent of Krishna's body incessantly entered his nostrils, and the Lord became mad to relish it. Krishna Ganda Lubda Rara Sakire Jay Kohila Se Shloka Pade Prabhu Arta Korila. Srimati Radharani once spoke a verse to her gopi friends describing how she hankers for the transcendental scent of Krishna's body. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited that same verse and made its meaning clear. Kurangamara Jid Vapu Parimal Lormi Krishtangana Swakangan Nalina Stake Shashi Jutabja Ganda Prata Madin Dubara Chandana Guru Sugande Charchita Same Marana Mohana Sakitanote Nashasriyam. The scent of Krishna's transcendental body surpasses the aroma of musk and attracts the minds of all women. The 8 lotus-like parts of his body distribute the fragrance of lotuses mixed with that of camphor. His body is anointed with aromatic substances like musk, camphor, sandalwood, and aguru. My dear friend, that Krishna, also known as the enchanter of Cupid, always increases the desire of my nostrils. Kasturika Nilot Pala Taraje Parima Tahajini Krishna Anga Ganda. Kasturika Nilot Pala Taraje Parimala Tahajini Krishna Anga Ganda. Vyape Choda Bhubane Kore Sarva Akarshane Nare Ganer Angi Kore Anda. A scent of Krishna's body surpasses the fragrance of musk and the bluish lotus flowers. Spreading throughout the 14 worlds, it attracts everyone and makes the eyes of all women blind. Sakihe Krishna Ganda Jagat Matai Narira Nashate Pashe Sarvakala Tahan Vaishe Krishna Paradori Loyajai. My dear friend, the scent of Krishna's body enchants the entire world. It especially enters the nostrils of women and remains seated there. Thus it captures them and forcibly brings them to Krishna. Nitranabe Bharana Kora Juga Charan Ayashta Padma Krishna Ange Karpura Lipta Karpura Lipta Kamala Tarajaichi Parimala Seganda Ashtapadma Sange Netranabe Bharana Korajuga Charana E Ashtapadma Krishna Ange Karpura Lila Karpura Lipta Kamala Tarajaichi Parimala Seganda Ashtapadma Sange. Krishna's eyes, navel, and face, hands and feet are like 8 lotus flowers on his body. From these 8 lotuses emanates a fragrance like a mixture of camphor and lotus. That is the scent associated with his body. Hema Kilita Chandana Taha Kore Garshana Tahe Aguru Kumkuma Kasturi Karpurasane charchange purva angera gandasange militare jena koila churi. When sandalwood pulp is mixed with aguru, kumkuma, musk, and camphor and spread on Krishna's body, it combines with Krishna's own original bodily perfume and seems to cover it. In another verse, in the last line of this verse reads, Kamadever mana koila churi. This means the scent of all these substances mixes with the previous scent of Krishna's body and steals away the mind of Cupid. Hari narira tanuma nasha kore gurnana kashanibi chutaya kesha banda korea age bori nachai jagat nari hena dakatiya krishnanga ganda. The scent of Krishna's transcendental body is so attractive that it enchants the bodies and minds of all women. It bewilders their nostrils, loosens their belts and hair, and makes them mad women. All the women of the world come under its influence, and therefore the scent of Krishna's body is like a plunder. Seganda, Basanasha, Sarakore, Ganderasha, Kabupai, Kabunahi Pai, Paile Pia, Peta, Bore, Pina Pina, Tabu Kore, Na Paile, Krishnaya Marijai. Falling completely under its influence, the nostrils yearn for it continuously, although sometimes they obtain it and sometimes not. When they do not drink their fill, though they still want more and more. When they do, they drink their fill, though they still want more and more. But if they don't, out of thirst they die. So falling completely under its influence, the nostrils yearn for it continuously, although sometimes they obtain it and sometimes not. When they do not drink their fill, though they still want more and more. When they do, they drink their fill, though they still want more and more. But if they don't, out of thirst they die. Marana Mohana Nata, Pasare Gandhira Hata, Jaganare Grahake Lobai, Binamuye Deya Ganda Dia, Koreanda, Garajaiche Patanahipai. The dramatic actor Madan Mohan has opened a shop of scents that attract the women of the world to be his customers. He delivers the scents freely, but they make the women all so blind they cannot find the path returning home. I really like this very much. The dramatic actor Madan Mohan has opened a shop of scents that attract the women of the world to be his customers. He delivers the scents freely, but they make the women also blind. They cannot find the path returning home. Emata Gorahari Gande Koila Manachuri Bringa Prai Iti Utidai Jaya Brika Lata Pashe Krishna Suri Se Ashe Krishna Napai Ganda Matrapai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mine that's stolen by the scent of Krishna's body, ran here and there like a bumblebee. He ran to the trees and plants, hoping that Lord Krishna would appear, but instead he found only that scent. Swarup Ramananda Gai Prabhu Nache Sukapai Emate Pratak Kalahoila Swarup Ramananda Rai Kore Nana Upai Mahaprabhu Bhaya Spurti Koila. Both Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy sang to the Lord, who danced and enjoyed happiness until the morning arrived. Then the Lord's two associates devised a plan to bring him to external consciousness. Matri Bhakti Pralapan Bitye Mukha Karshan Krishna Ganda Swarti Dibya Nritya Antya-lila Bede Gaila A Parichede Krishna Das Rupa Gosai Britya. Thus I, Krishna Das, the servant of Srila Rupa Goswami, have sung of 4 divisions of the Lord's pastimes in this chapter. The Lord's devotion to his mother, his words of madness, his rubbing his face against the walls at night, and his dancing at the appearance of Lord Krishna's fragrance. E Mata Mahaprabhu Pana Chaitan Snana Kore Koila Jagannatha Darshan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus returned to external consciousness. He then bathed and went to see Lord Jagannath. Alokika Krishna Lila Dibya Shakti Tar Tarkara Gocharanahe Charitra Jahar. The pastimes of Lord Krishna are uncommonly full of transcendental potency. It is a characteristic of such pastimes that they do not fall within the jurisdiction of experimental logic and arguments. E prema sada jage jaharantare panditeha tara chesta bhujite napare. So speaking here of Krishna's lila, the pastimes of Lord Krishna, or Krishna lila, are uncommonly full of transcendental potency. It is a characteristic of such pastimes that they do not fall within the jurisdiction of experimental logic and arguments. E prima sada jage jaharantare panditeha tara chesta bhujite napare. When transcendental love of Krishna awakens in someone's heart, even a learned scholar cannot comprehend his activities. Danyas yayam nava prema yashon milati chedasi antarbanibir apiyasya mudra shushtu su durgama. The activities and symptoms of that exalted personality in whose heart love of Godhead has awakened cannot be understood even by the most learned scholar. Alokika prabhur cheshtra pralapa shunya tarkana koriya shuna vishwasa koriya. The activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are undoubtedly uncommon. The activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are undoubtedly uncommon, especially his talking like a madman. Therefore, one who hears of these pastimes should not put forward mundane arguments. He should simply hear the pastimes with full faith. Ihara Satyat Be Pramana Shri Bhagavate Shri Radhara Prema Pralap Brahmara Gitate. The evidence of the truth of these talks is found in Srimad Bhagavatam. There in the section of the 10th canto known as the Brahmara Gita, the song to the bumblebee, Srimati Radharani speaks insanely in ecstatic love for Krishna. That's when Uddhava took a message from Krishna to Vrindavan, and Srimati Radharani spoke to a bumblebee like a mad woman, sometimes equating the bumblebee to be Krishna's messenger, that's Uddhava, and sometimes taking the bumblebee to directing messages to Krishna. And she spoke in this way. And Uddhava witnessed this mad talk of Srimati Radharani to the bumblebee. Mahishara Gita Jaina, who she referred to the bumblebee as as the messenger, something to the effect of an unworthy messenger of an unworthy master, or not the word unworthy, like that she could not equating Uddhava, the unreliable messenger of an unreliable master. Sometimes speaking in that way to the bumblebee, and as if she was speaking in that way, referring to Uddhava also. Mahishara Gita Jaina Dashameyer Seshe Panditena Bhujetara Arta Visheshe. The songs of the queens at Dwarka, which are mentioned at the end of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, have very special meaning. They are not understood even by the most learned scholars. So these are all parts of they're even Srila Guru Maharaj has referred to the parts of Krishna's pastimes, which he refers to as parts which are meant, the Asura Mohan, that they're meant to confuse the Asuras, like the disappearance of Krishna and the disappearance of the dynasty, the Asura Mohan Lila, meant to confuse the Asuras. The songs of the queens at Dwarka, which are mentioned at the end of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, have a very special meaning. They're not understood even by the most learned scholars. Mahaprabhu Nityananda, Dohara Dashara Dash, Jari Kripa Korantara Hoy Ite Vishwas. If one becomes a servant of the servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu and is favored by them, he can believe in all these discourses. Shradakore Shuna Iha Shunite Mahasuk Kandibe Adyatmikadi Kutarkadi Duk. Just try to hear these topics with faith, for there is great pleasure even in hearing them. That hearing will destroy all miseries pertaining to the body, mind, and other living entities, and the unhappiness of false and other living entities, and the unhappiness of false arguments as well. Just try to hear these topics with faith, for there is great pleasure in hearing them. That hearing will destroy all miseries pertaining to the body, mind, and other living entities, and the unhappiness of false arguments as well. So everything will depend on Shraddha, on faith. That is the only way of understanding Krishna Lila, and the events that we experience in this world also have to be taken with faith, understanding things with faith. There are many things. Now we are experiencing great sadness and difficulty over the disappearance of our Acharya Maharaj. But these things have to be taken with faith, and that faith will always be able to guide us through the most difficult things and give us true understanding. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nitya Nutan, Shunite Judai, Hridaya Shravan. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is ever increasingly fresh. For one who hears it again and again, the heart and ear become pacified. Shri Rupa Raghunath Parijara As, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kohe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, 19th chapter, describing the Lord's devotion to his mother, his mad speeches in separation from Krishna, his rubbing his face against the walls of the gambhir, and his dancing in the Jagannath Vallabha garden. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Adwaita Chandra Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jahoite Vignana Shabishta Puran H.I. Gosai Jarmui Taradas Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame Janame More Abilas H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash, Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayi Aman, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryash, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamunas, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryash, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamunas, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru, Goranga Gandharvika Girirariju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Vaishnava Sarvabhauma, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath, Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Primsi Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Adwaita Gadadhar Shivasti, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagwat Ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishwaparenya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Sri Koladvip Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Sokel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Radharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.